My sister, who's 23, and I, who's 21, are not very close. This has been the case since we were kids, but it got worse during middle school. That's when it became obvious that I was mentally ill, and I had a hard time coping during my preteen and teen years. My sister felt ashamed of me and would sometimes deny we were even related, especially when around certain people. She even got in trouble with one of her high school teachers who happened to be a family friend. The teacher knew we were related, but my sister flat out denied it to the whole class. She called the teacher a liar and said some hurtful things about me, like calling me a miserable freak that nobody wanted to be around. She never wanted to be seen with me, even if our parents wanted us to do something together as a family. It was embarrassing to live with me, and she refused to risk her reputation by being seen with a girl who had been called a psycho in middle school after I had a breakdown in class. Eventually, my parents insisted that my sister join me in therapy, hoping that it would help everyone understand each other better. The therapist wasn't okay with what I was going through, but my parents pressured me to say I was okay, so I did, something I regret to this day. After that, the therapist explained about my severe anxiety, intrusive thoughts, and depression. Later, my sister cruelly suggested that I should listen to those intrusive thoughts more often because they sounded accurate and helpful. Most of this tension came from our parents paying more attention to me. But that's not true. They often ignored me because my sister was always the shining star, popular and easygoing, while I struggled with anxiety and my emotions. Being ignored for so long worsened my condition. The real reason my sister feels the way she does, I believe, is because I had a mental health crisis in school, and people talked about it. For ages after, I don't think she ever forgave me for that. Anyway, she met a guy in college and now they're getting married, which has become a point of contention between my parents and me. I declined the wedding invitation. Initially, my sister was fine with my decision, but her future in-laws started asking questions, so now she insists I must be there. She said my life could wait for one day while I made hers easier. Her fiancé advised me to take my meds and smile so his family won't notice anything odd about me. My sister also instructed me not to reveal our relationship to some of his friends because, once again, she denied me. It's a messy situation. My parents worry about the optics if I don't attend, but I refuse to change my mind. I don't care about appearances. Am I the one being unreasonable? Wow, your parents are clueless for letting her behave like this. Does your sister think she's the main character in life? She should be in therapy to figure out why this bothers her so much. You have no obligation to sacrifice for her. She couldn't sacrifice for you. You have no reason to prioritize her when she never cared about you. Respect is a two-way street. Tell her that if she wanted a sister so badly, she no longer has one. She shouldn't act badly if she doesn't want people to think badly of her. You're not the one at fault here. Have they ever thought about how their treatment of you might make your underlying issues worse? A trainer who slaps band-aids on the broken legs of their athlete isn't really worthy of the notoriety of completing a marathon, you know. Treat yourself to something nice. A slice of cake, a new book, a day indoors with no one to bother you. Do whatever replenishes and restores you, and keep telling the rest of them to go screw themselves in your own way. We don't need to engage in performative family time for ungrateful, toxic people. Stay strong. OP. You don't need to attend Cinderella's ball. Yeah, the guru's comment would have sealed it for me too, even if I were considering giving the sister a chance. Don't go. Tell them their precious child has no sister, just like she always wanted. Otherwise, you'll find yourself compelled to deliver a heartfelt speech where you'll speak the truth about all three of them. Stop engaging with them and focus on living your life. You deserve much better treatment from the people who are supposed to love you. As for my own story, I'm a 25-year-old woman who got married 2 weeks ago. My now husband, 27, and I paid for most of the wedding. But my father covered a few costs. My father's girlfriend, Stella, has a daughter, Zoe, who's 21 and finishing her degree in fashion. She aspires to enter the wedding dress industry once she graduates. Zoe offered to design and make my wedding dress. Initially, when I started planning my wedding, I hesitated because I was excited about picking out my own dress. However, I agreed because I didn't know Zoe well. My father had only been dating Stella for 2 years, and I thought this could be a nice opportunity for us to bond. Plus, I had seen some of Zoe's work. She had made a couple of ball gowns in college, and they seemed genuinely good. We met a few times to discuss our ideas, but I soon realized that our styles drastically differed. Despite this, we agreed on a design, and I gave Zoe my measurements, asking her to keep me updated. Unfortunately, she didn't follow through. Whenever I asked how she was doing, she would promise to send progress pictures when she got home. But she never did. It took her longer than expected to finish the dress, and I finally received it a month before my wedding. To my dismay, it looked nothing like the design we had agreed upon. It was the wrong color, the wrong style, everything. It seemed like the type of dress Zoe would want to wear, but it was nothing like what I envisioned for myself. When I tried it on, I discovered it was about 3 sizes too big. Even though I could have had it altered, I just couldn't imagine wearing that dress on my wedding day. I called Zoe and explained that while the dress looked lovely, it wasn't the style we had agreed on, and I thought it would be best for me to find a different dress. I offered to pay her for her work, even though she had made the dress for free, but she declined and hung up on me. So I went to a retail bridal store with my maid of honor, and there we found a beautiful gown that didn't need much altering. It was exactly what I had wanted. Fast forward to my wedding day. I walked down the aisle in the dress I bought. Zoe seemed on the verge of tears during the ceremony, and Stella gave me dirty looks throughout the reception. They were both short with me when I approached them later. About an hour into the reception, my father, Stella, and Zoe left. The next day, my father and Stella called to scold me for how I treated Zoe. They emphasized that it was Zoe's first time making a wedding dress, and she had been excited to see me wear it. They found it insulting that I didn't wear the dress she had put so much effort into. I tried to explain my reasons, but they insisted the dress was beautiful and that I could have just dealt with it. My husband and younger sister, not Zoe, support me in this. I felt guilty for not wearing the dress. Am I the one at fault here? Not at all. Zoe disrespected your wishes as a designer by ignoring what you wanted. She needs to listen to her clients. Additionally, making the dress way too big shows she needs to improve her skills. Return the dress to Zoe, thanking her for her effort, but explaining it wasn't what you wanted. As for her mom and your dad, remind them that Zoe needs to listen to her clients, especially when it comes to wedding dresses. I wonder if Zoe did this intentionally to draw attention during your wedding. Oh yeah, I forgot about it being 3 sizes too big despite taking measurements. That's more than just a rookie mistake. She even heard what you said about the dress style, probably drew pictures, and definitely wrote down the measurements. But none of that seemed to make a difference, did it? It's like a selective memory kind of thing. I bet good money that the final dress was closer to Zoe's size than yours. Listen, Zoe knew you wouldn't be wearing the dress because you told her a month before and explained why. She had plenty of time to accept this. And yet, she still tears up as you walk down the aisle. So when her mom asks her why, she tells her that you didn't wear the dress she made for you, adding whatever else she wanted to throw in. Now her mom is angry at you because her mom would have been offended. They would have never shown up at your wedding or addressed the issue before the wedding. You were played. I can relate. I planned my own birthday party because I knew my husband and kids wouldn't do a great job. And I was right. For my 40th birthday party, they planned for an ice cream cake and take-out pizza with a movie at home. I ensure my husband and 2 kids have incredible experiences on their special occasions. But unfortunately, they don't reciprocate. For my husband's 40th birthday, I arranged an NASCAR experience in Vegas after saving up all year. On my daughter's teen birthday, I surprised her with a MacBook Pro for which I had also saved. Since my son is a twin, I don't expect much from him in this regard. However, when it comes to my own birthday, I decided to plan it without informing them. With my best friend watching the house, my husband and I spent the weekend in the city, enjoying the Back to the Future musical and indulging in some fantastic meals. Upon our return, we found a party waiting for me, organized by my husband and daughter, who received compliments for their efforts. But later, both my husband and daughter accused me of embarrassing them by not informing them of my plans. When I asked them what they had planned for my birthday, they couldn't provide an answer. I pointed out the disparity between what I had done for them and what they had done for me. My daughter hesitated to respond. I expressed understanding that they might not enjoy planning events and reassured them that I had no issue with that. However, they could have sought help from my friends or those who enjoyed planning if it was a concern. I offered to let them take charge of planning and executing their own celebrations from now on, while I would handle my own. We could take turns planning our son's events. Neither had anything more to add. Today, my husband surprised me with an apology, admitting that he had been thoughtless. However, my daughter is still upset because I pointed out that she had put more effort into planning her boyfriend's birthday than mine. I feel foolish. I would have been content letting them take the credit. Some say I'm at fault for making my daughter feel guilty, but it's not her responsibility to plan an extravagant 40th birthday party for me. I wouldn't expect her to afford an expensive gift at her age. When my daughter reaches my age, I'll be happy with a simple celebration like an ice cream cake and a family movie night. The disagreement lies in how I handled the situation. Some suggest I should have communicated my desires with my husband instead of playing games. Others argue that it's about care, and a homemade breakfast filled with tiny gestures would have sufficed. She loves a good gesture, yet she received none. Hop! They took all the credit, and everyone congratulated them. You didn't expose their charade. Kudos to your husband for apologizing. Your daughter has every right to feel embarrassed, even if she doesn't apologize. She's learned something. As for my own story, I'm a 29-year-old woman who has been dating my boyfriend, who's 31, for about 6 months. He's a wonderful guy, loving and caring. However, we come from different backgrounds and upbringings, which translates to different views on gender roles in friendships. For me, having male-female friendships has always been normal. My mother had male friends and my father had female friends. In fact, my mother's best friend is my godfather, and my father's best friend is my godmother. On the other hand, my boyfriend has a more traditional approach. He believes that men should only be friends with other men, and women should only be friends with other women. He allows for the existence of distant acquaintances of the opposite gender, but nothing more. The issue arises because all my closest friends happen to be men. However, this doesn't mean that I have any problem with women. I have plenty of female acquaintances, and I also have excellent relationships with the girlfriends and wives of my male friends. It just turned out that way. I work as a researcher in a male-dominated field, so most of my friends are people I met at work, college, or during my PT. While most of my friends have girlfriends or wives, my best friend has a boyfriend. However, there has never been anything inappropriate or ambiguous between us, until now. For me, going out with male friends for a beer or drinks once every 2 weeks has always seemed normal. I tend to meet my friends one-on-one because I'm somewhat introverted, and I believe that valuable, serious, and deep conversations are best had face-to-face. Occasionally, I invite them to my house or visit them at their apartments. We sometimes talk until morning, but I want to emphasize that nothing has ever happened beyond friendship. We also have annual vacation plans. Every summer, my best friend and I, along with a group of doctoral colleagues, go to our favorite bar for a few days. Sometimes their girlfriends and wives join us, while other times they prefer to spend time with their own friends. None of them have ever shown jealousy. Even my ex-boyfriend, whom I was with for 5 years, never had an issue with this arrangement. We parted amicably when he got a job abroad, and I chose to stay to care for my aging parents. However, my current boyfriend expressed discomfort with my friendships. I tried to understand his perspective and suggested finding a compromise solution. I proposed meeting my friends only in public places, not inviting them to my home or visiting theirs. During these outings, I suggested texting my boyfriend regularly every half hour to reassure him that I was thinking of him and not engaging in anything suspicious. However, he found this insufficient. He confessed he would prefer if I only met my friends in his company. As a compromise, he reluctantly allowed occasional one-on-one meetings during the day for an hour or two. Feeling upset, I argued that these conditions were unfair, especially since he often goes out with his friends and ignores my calls or messages. He insisted it was different because none of his friends were women. I countered that gender shouldn't matter. He then suggested I make new female friends, claiming he wouldn't mind if I spent all night partying with them. Feeling overwhelmed, I ended the conversation abruptly. Friends aren't replaceable like furniture. While my boyfriend is important to me, I've contemplated ending my friendships out of fear of losing him. However, I worry I'll regret it once the honeymoon period is over, leaving me isolated with only our relationship as my significant bond. My boyfriend is still waiting for me to accept his conditions. However, I'm increasingly leaning towards leaving him. Yet it will be incredibly challenging because we get along perfectly well in every other aspect. Would I be making a mistake if I ended things solely for this reason? You wouldn't be making a mistake. It's a valid reason to break up with him. No one in a relationship should restrict the other's friendships. You likely understand this on some level, but his control won't stop at male friends outside of work. He's pushing boundaries, and if you allow it, he may gain access to your phone, emails, and social media accounts. Furthermore, it's inappropriate for him to dictate your friendships with single women as well. Also, your choice of working in a male-dominated field has nothing to do with his insecurities. You can't fix his insecurity by changing yourself. The more you accommodate it, the harder it will be to break free. Stand firm with your boundaries. Your boyfriend should accept and trust you, or you need to decide if you want to remain in a relationship where you're not accepted and trusted. Consider this. It's only been 6 months, and he's already telling you what you're allowed to do. Your boyfriend's behavior appears insecure and controlling. You're wise to consider ending things. Don't sacrifice healthy friendships for an insecure partner.